Thanks everybody for coming back to our third session. Today we're going to discuss anger. We're going to summarize triggers. We're going to discuss alternatives. We're going to kind of go over all the different things that we've learned in our last two sessions and discuss and think back to our role play scenario a little bit. So before we begin, I thought we'd do another check-in to see how our week's been, something positive, something negative. Perhaps we can start with you today, Sean?
Let's see. I didn't get in trouble for my parents this week, so that's good.
That's great news.
And then, let's see. Oh, the ticket that I got is going to be really expensive, so.
That's disappointing. I apologize.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about you, Lisa?
I got a boyfriend.
Hey, great news.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's on the football team.
Congratulations. That's wonderful news.
Not so good. My parents don't like him.
Oh, that's too
So
bad.
that sucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Because he's older.
okay. And, well,
No deal.
yeah. All right. And Rebecca, how about you?
Something good. Let's see. I've been trying to handle my anxieties better this week. Trying to be positive, so that was easier. And something negative. I didn't get to go out the other night because I just had a ton of stuff to do, and so I missed out on some fun, but that's all right, at least I got some homework done. That was the only negative thing. I just missed out on some fun.
All right. Thank you. That's all right. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Any comments at all that they want to? Anything you want to read?
The role play was pretty cool last week.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Did you kind of find yourself thinking about it as you left the class? Different scenarios pop up in your head, different ways to handle it, perhaps?
Yeah, I know I can be a hothead sometimes, and sometimes I'll just like say stuff that I really don't mean to people, and it probably hurts their feelings. And yeah, this is helping me a little bit because I don't want to be pissed off the rest of my life.
Right. And we're going to kind of discuss that today, because really the key to getting past that is practice.
Yeah.
Just practice, practice, practice till it becomes second nature. It's like almost learning how to play a piano or a musical instrument. So, all right. So that kind of brings us to our first topic, which is everybody gets angry. So that's the first thing that everyone here needs to really understand and believe. Anger is a natural emotion. It's no different than any other emotion. It's how you handle your anger, how you cope with your anger that really means separate. So once you really understand that, then you can shake some of that guilt that comes with being angry all the time. So the next step I would suggest, actually before I begin, any questions, any comments regarding anger and its emotion?
So it's okay to be angry.
It is. It is okay to be angry. Yeah.
Because I get angry a lot.
Yeah, anger is a natural emotion. There are, of course, reasons behind why you're getting angry. Those are, that's another session perhaps. But it is something that is natural. Like I said, it's just learning how to cope with that anger, learning how to deal with that anger. That kind of will, determine how far you can get and how successful you can be in that regard.
In my parents' school.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Exactly. So identifying your anger is our next topic. And what I mean by that, because it sounds simple, how do I know when I'm angry? Well, that seems obvious to those that suffer from anger management. But the truth is, it may not be as obvious to you. You may not realize that your fists are clenched when you're angry, or that your brow is furrowed and that you're sweating, or that you're, laser focused on one thing. These are physical things that are happening to your body that eventually, with time and with understanding, you'll start to recognize and trigger yourself and start to say to yourself, I'm getting angry. I don't like this feeling. I'm going to start coping with this and dealing with this, and that's going to lead us into our next topics, which are triggers and alternative behaviors. So again, before we go into that, any last questions regarding identifying anger? Does anyone have any experiences that they'd like to share? Sean? Do you know when you get angry?
Just, when people try to tell me what to do, stuff like that, that really makes me angry,
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Sean.
I know when people don't listen to what I'm saying,
Right.
and if I'm, at home and people are really loud and they don't hear me, or if I'm at school, and they just aren't hearing what I'm saying, it really pisses me off because I have something to say and nobody cares.
And that's how it appears, that's how it feels,
Yeah.
right? So that leads me to my next topic, which is trigger thoughts. And these are almost irrational thoughts that hop into your head that trigger anger. Rebecca, how would you feel if you were sitting in the lunchroom and a group of girls across the room were laughing and giggling and pointing and looking in your direction?
Go scrap them.
Yeah,
So you would immediately think they were talking about you.
yeah,
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are trigger thoughts, Rebecca, because
Yes.
the truth is, there's a very good possibility they're not talking about you, that they're looking past you, that they're not thinking about you. Perhaps I did not give you a good example, but what I'm trying to get at is that emotion, that description brought out anger in you immediately, even in this session. So recognizing those things and recognizing that trigger is something that sets you off. How do you think another way to perhaps handle that rather than scrap it with that? Could you perhaps get a little closer, maybe, to
I
So-
just
so
go there and
over
ask
here.
them straight up, what are you talking about?
Right, okay. And if they said they weren't talking about you and they had no idea what you were talking about, wouldn't you feel embarrassed?
Yeah, that'd make me even more mad, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a vicious cycle in a way.
I
So,
guess I would just walk away.
yeah, walk away.
Yeah,
If
I
they're gonna point at
could.
me, we could just walk and go to a different part of the cafeteria, and then if they point at us again, then we know they're really talking about us.
Right.
Yeah,
So trigger thoughts kind of fall into two categories: the belief that you've been harmed, ridiculed, or victimized, and the belief that other persons mean to do you harm. So the key point about trigger thoughts is that it may escalate an angry situation without any basis of reality. So what I mean by that scenario is perhaps they weren't pointing at you. Perhaps there was somebody behind you. Perhaps there was simply not a point. It just felt like it. So do you understand? Does
Yeah,
that kind of enlighten
yeah.
you as far as how you handle those kind of things?
yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions? Did you want to say something else?
No, sometimes I just see red though. Sometimes I just get so mad I don't even
Yeah.
think. I just see red. I just wanna just start hitting and swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you get suspended.
Yeah, and that's why I'm
Well, after you learn to identify your behaviors and your anger,
I just have a bad temper.
well, that means you're going to have to start substituting those behaviors with other, behaviors that are not going to lead you to suspension, not going to get you in trouble. And like I mentioned to Lisa earlier, it's about practice. It's simply about recognizing that you, have an anger management control issue, that there are certain things that trigger me, whether they are other people or the environment around me or my own thoughts that go through my head. There are days where I'm not going to be able to make it through without getting angry. So knowing that and understanding that I'm going to get angry, but learning how to cope with it, that's where you guys need to really, improve, and that's where these sessions are going to help you, because alternative behaviors is really what you guys need to master. So Lisa, you have, let's do a scenario, you have a roommate. Every morning this roommate gets up at 4 a.m. for a new job. It's a disruption to you because this roommate wakes you up. And after the third night of waking up at 4 a.m., you storm out of your bedroom screaming upset that this person has woken you up again for the third time in a row at 4 a.m. Do you believe that handling that in that kind of anger, that kind of response is beneficial? It is perhaps going to help your scenario the most efficient way?
No, it's not, because if I get up and I'm screaming at her, then I'm gonna be up anyway. Because
That's a good point.
my adrenaline's gonna be going, and I'm not gonna be able to go back to sleep. I mean, it's pretty rude of her to get up at 4 in the morning and make all that noise, but I guess maybe if I can try and talk to her about it before she goes to bed, just to let her know, hey, listen, dude, I don't get up till 8, you get up at 4, you're waking me up, it's irritating me,
So you made a great
fix it.
You made a great point, speaking to her beforehand. So what you're kind of alluding to is getting into a rational state, one where you're not seeing
Yeah,
red.
I'm not mad, it's
Right.
easier if I talk to her.
Right, and perhaps she could say, there's a lot I can do to perhaps be a lot quieter. I can perhaps shower the night before, or, several different scenarios could, examples come to mind. But
Maybe you get earplugs, or I get a new roommate.
yes. But again, alternative behaviors require practice, lots of practice. So that's why I want to just keep reiterating that. The last thing I want to talk about today is assertive versus aggressive behavior. Sean, can you tell us what you think that means?
I don't know. I guess maybe like assertive would be like if you're trying to explain yourself, and aggressive would be if you're just trying to. I don't know.
No, actually that's very good, and I'll just give you the textbook definition here, because you were right on target. Assertive behavior involves standing up for personal rights and expressing yourself in direct ways that do not violate another person's rights. The goal of assertive behavior is communication with mutuality. Aggressive behavior involves standing up for personal rights as well, but in a manner that is indirect and in violation of the rights of others. Its goal tends to be domination and winning. Some of the components of assertive styles are using I statements to take responsibility, negotiating clearly for what's wanted, citing specific problem behaviors and what changes are desired, avoids exaggeration with words such as always and never, and repeats appropriate requests in a calm manner. Those are examples of assertive styles.
So not cussing people out.
Right, not cussing people out, exactly. Some examples of aggressive style: use you statements to blame and intimidate. Anyone ever done that here?
Mm-hmm.
Uses threats, put downs, and name calling. Sets up win-loss situations instead of negotiating. Does not listen when the other side, or to the other side, and tries to use power to manipulate others. So those are some examples of aggressive style. And so I'm pointing them out because a lot of people are, not exactly sure the difference. Standing up for your personal rights is something that is honorable and something that most people will always defend you for. The way you present yourself, the way you handle yourself, that's going to be the key. And this is an important skill because as productive citizens, you guys are going to have to learn how to do this. Because, once you do go out and get that job, like Sean just got at McDonald's, you have to maintain that anger. You can't, risk losing your temper and getting fired.
Yeah, what if you make the wrong hamburger, Sean? What if they yell at you?
Yeah,
That would suck.
Sean's going to be okay. And then, like I mentioned earlier, this section, anger is a natural emotion. It's not necessarily bad. It can let you know when things aren't right. Everybody feels anger sometimes. Do some people experience it more than others? Maybe, yeah. Do people tend to express it differently? Definitely. And there are many theories as to why this is, but it does seem true that people can learn patterns of emotion, expression from their family while growing up. Recognizing this can get a better understanding of why we express anger or any emotions that we do. So, any questions on this?
I think I got it.
Okay, so I want to assign a little bit of homework for us. This is a journal that I'm going to provide each of you. And in this journal, what I'd like you to first talk about is identifying some triggers, identifying things, identifying your anger. I apologize. Identifying your anger, I want you to list different physical things that happen to you when you're angry. Like I mentioned earlier, clenched fist, tight jaw, things like that. List all those things, and that will help us. And then next time we get together, we'll discuss those. And as we start to recognize them, the next time you get angry, you will quickly, or more quickly, say to yourself, I'm angry, I need to walk away from this situation or it's not going to end well.
So maybe as we go through the week or something, this is a song, we just write it down.
Perfect.
Write what pisses us off, or write down how we feel.
So it's a
What-
journal, and I encourage you to always write in it any time that you can.
Okay.
But your assignment this week will simply be to list all of the signs of when you're angry, identifying your anger. Tell us about what happens to your body, what happens to your mind, and your soul, if you will, when you get angry.
Okay, we can do that.
All right, anyone else have any questions? All right, everyone, I appreciate your help. I really appreciate you coming and doing this. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Thanks.